Welcome back to Adobe Live here on behance.net/live. We're streaming live from New York City from the 99U conference, and it's the 10th annual conference. 10 years.
I didn't know that.
10 years that this has been going on. So 99U plus, it's going to be 109U. Right?
Sorry, we just got to know each other, so now we're vibing. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's your style of humor. Okay.
And for the next hour, I'm going to be together with Jennet Liaw. Hey, Jeanette, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Welcome here to 99U.
Thank you so much for having me.
We are going to do we're going to be reviewing some portfolios as well. So please submit them. There's a little tab down there in the interface on behance.net/live that says portfolios, and there you can submit your portfolios for us to review. Now, of course, we're asking you to submit portfolios that make sense to Jeanette. Okay, so how can we...
Don't confuse me.
What kind of portfolios would you like to see?
I mean, my background is really in graphic design, but I'm actually transitioning right now into kind of like the more artist field, but I would say that like the portfolios that I'm used to seeing and building are probably more in the realm of like graphic design.
Graphic design, illustration maybe?
Illustration, yeah.
All right, so get these portfolios in, graphic design and illustration, and we will be looking at those in half an hour, in 30 minutes. So let's start with you, Jeanette. Tell us a little bit about you. Who are you? Yes.
So my name is Jeanette. I am a designer, illustrator, I guess artist. I moved to New York City a year ago and started freelancing full-time. Before that I had a full-time job over in Portland working for Nike of all places. And now I'm just kind of
doing the New
roaming
York
the streets, picking up exciting projects, and it's been a full year since, so I'm really enjoying it. Yeah.
All right, a year in New York.
Yeah, a year in New York. It's supposed to say a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, if you stick for more than a few months in New York, that's a good sign.
It's like survival of the New Yorkers.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm like newly inducted.
Yeah. I would say so. So Jeanette, I've also opened your website here, JennettLiaw.com. And maybe we can go through some of the projects that you've done, some of the things. You mentioned that you're working on a complete rehaul of your portfolio, but everybody says that.
I know, I was about to say that.
Everybody says that.
It's like saying like,
I'm working on a
like, what are you up to? I'm so busy. Like, what's your website? Oh no, I haven't updated in like 3 years. And that's true for mine too, but I really am getting it overhauled within like the next couple weeks. So stay tuned. I don't know. But I mean, this work, I guess I try my best to at least cycle out the stuff I hate and keep some things that I hope represent my work now. So we're looking at like some mural work, like two little areas we look at mural work. I also have like a very casual, very like unmarketed company, if you can even call it that. It's just like a way for me, excuse for me to sell pins of like little illustrations and stuff. So that's that middle tab, the Meet Me Halfway pin. So I thought I'd just feature that on my website too, because that represents more of kind of like my small scale, like sketchy illustration work. And then of course I have like my more design stuff coming up under that.
Did you sell these pins online?
I do. And
all right, let's go find them.
It's actually under the shop link if you click that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pew, 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 pew.
That is what it is called.
All right.
Pew, pew, pew as a domain was taken, so I did the only thing you can do and added more pews until it was a free domain.
Until it's authorized.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, here. Pew, 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 pew.com.
Yeah, five pews.
5 pews?
Yeah.
And and you can get the pins from here. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's my just my portfolio part of it. But then if you go to the actual website,
under the shop website?
Yeah, under the shop link, that's like where you can get the pins. I don't even try to like. I literally don't mention this at all, this pew thing, because it's so casual. Unless someone is like, can you just...
Well, you just mentioned it 2,000
I know,
people,
I realize that, and so it's like really disingenuous, but it's just because it just like shut people up when they're like, why don't you sell stuff? And I'm like, here.
Okay, let's do it and sell some stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll make sure to check it out.
Thank you.
And so we have the pins, we have the murals, and so I see that you have a good mix of analog art and digital art, right?
Yeah.
It's like how did you get there? I mean, you always like painting, or?
I mean, I think like coming from a designer's point of view, it's like what I want to see happen, and then like whatever it is that is the means to make that happen. So if I feel like I really need to make something, like I'm not the kind of artist that just wants to kind of sit down and, you know, open all my paints and just see what happens, because I understand that's like a very therapeutic way of making art too, but for me, I have to know what I'm making, and if that's like more like hand style or that's more like organic, then I will start with that and then bring in obviously like Adobe products to like.
So basically you give yourself a goal and then you go after that goal.
Whatever that is, like it might be digital, analog, whatever. So I definitely don't like say that I'm more of one or the other. It's just like.
Yeah, I think that's always a very good idea to start with a goal, like always have an idea of where you want to go before starting something, because I like it there too, like stay with my colors and things and try things out, but you can lose a lot of time doing that.
Yeah,
right?
and that's terrible like to say,
yeah.
because I have so much respect for people that can kind of lose themselves in the art, but especially in a city like New York, man, that like there's this like just unspoken pressure that's just like everyone else is doing so much and I'm painting aimlessly. Like one day I'll be able to get there, but for now.
So I'm not from New York, but is it true that you know that everybody's stressed, or is this like in the UK you'd say, oh, I'm so bored, or like in New York, oh, I'm so stressed. Like is everybody really stressed, or is this just a sort of? I
think it's its own brand of stress, and I can only speak for this like from someone who's not from New York, but I live here now, so I can contrast, but not be like such an authentic native.
Kind of stress.
Oh no, but I think everybody is, I guess, like literally more stressed, but it's not to a point where it's unusual, and so it's like blessed to be stressed. You know, like everybody has so much amazing work to do. Like of course you're putting a lot of self-pressure, just like especially for artists and designers out here, to do more and to just like be on par really with your friends and colleagues, because everyone's so amazing. So yeah, you're stressed, but you can't really complain about it. It's not like stress where you're like, this is unusual and I need to go to therapy.
Yeah, okay.
I need to stop.
So it's manageable stress.
Yeah, it's a good, we came here for this stress.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got it, so.
Okay, so is there any project, I'm just scrolling down here, anything that you would like to go into more depth in, and maybe a story you have to tell about a specific project here?
I guess, let's see, so when you scroll down to this like lettering.
This one here?
Yeah. Like very rarely kind of, it's a tricky thing to be like in the world of lettering, but also kind of hate motivational quotes and things that are a little too like, like, yeah, like, I don't know if that's really getting me up and going. Like, but for this particular project, it was just like one of those things where like, especially if you've been doing what you're doing for enough time, like I feel like I have, where I'm really comfortable with certain tools. Like if you bring in a new one, often I want to entertain it, but I'm pretty good with what I have. And it just happened to be around that time that I was brought in actually for the Make It on Mobile like artist thing. And then I came in like so skeptical, honestly, because I'm not used to drawing on a tablet. I've always been like trackpad queen, which is bad, all bad. I have carpal tunnel, don't recommend it. But I didn't like drawing on glass, and then I didn't believe that, drawing on an iPad could lend to like the organic result that I actually wanted. So this is going to sound like an infomercial, but like, oh my God, I had so much trouble believing in it. And then along came this project, and so this was like one of those times where you're like, you don't really know how useful something might be until someone is literally like this is how you use it and how you have to execute it and honestly make your living. So I had just quit my job at Nike, and I remember this came in through the door, like a campaign for Uber, and it was just to make a bunch of like graduation themed stuff, but I was just like, I was on the go, I was moving, I didn't have all my paints with me and everything, but then I had my iPad, and I had heard that there's pretty good brushes on it, and they were asking for basically like something like that, so I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna do this huge campaign like on the plane with my iPad. And I learned a lesson there to just like be super open, and also when you have like a new tool, to really welcome projects that force you to like understand that tool.
Oh, you know what? I'm completely forgetting the chat. Hey,
sorry.
I was so focused on the portfolio, but let's see, like I'm gonna keep an eye on the chat as well. So yes, you were saying that You participated in the Make It on Mobile thing?
Yeah.
In what year? When was that?
What year was that? I was still in Oregon at that point, so it must have been like 2016. So that was the first like installation where they like didn't tell us anything, and they were just like, "You're gonna go underground with a bunch of people you don't know, but just trust them." And then they gave us stuff.
Many things have changed since, because now we have all of Kyle Webster's brushes on Photoshop Sketch, which is pretty awesome.
It's cool to see the
evolution of it. Hey Tim, long time no see. That's right. I mean, you see me all the time. Like, Tim is our super moderator from Germany.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say supermodel.
Yeah.
I was like,
super what?
Supermodel.
No, super moderator. Yeah, no, not supermodel, not today. Hey Kevin, hey Fran. Welcome everybody in the chat. Yes, so please make sure to submit your portfolios in the in illustration, in graphic design, and we'll be looking at them in about 20 minutes from now.
Cool.
So Jeanette. I'm gonna say it the French way. Jeanette.
That's fine with me.
So all of this you did on your tablet?
Yeah, I did it fully on my iPad, and it was also the first time I really used this new tool after feeling so familiar in Illustrator and everything else to make something that was actually for something. So besides just like doodling and stuff. So it's good to be able to
So were the finals done on the iPad, or did you then rework them in Photoshop or Illustrator?
Yeah, so I mean the good thing about these tools, I guess, like Adobe Sketch and Draw, is that like you just click like a button and it goes straight to Photoshop. So some little things, like I wanted to move some things around more quickly, like in the end, just to finish it up and like change color and stuff. Yeah, I finished that all up in Photoshop.
And all during the plane ride?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a lot of questions on the plane, a lot of like explaining about things I didn't actually know about.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I mean, like I completely understand, the reticence you had, like drawing on glass with the Apple Pencil. But now they also have these things that you can stick on it and it feels like paper.
I was gonna say, so then thankfully there was like a guy in our group that was pretty seasoned with it, Rob Zilla.
He's probably here in the chat somewhere. He's always around.
Not that he doesn't have anything better to do, maybe he's not around. But I kind of was like lamenting to him that I wanted to love it more, and he was like, oh, here's an Amazon link.
Oh, okay.
So, short story, very short.
Paper like it's called, no? Something like that?
I don't remember, but it just makes it more tactile.
It makes the iPad feel like a sheet of paper.
Yeah, makes the transition a little bit easier.
So that's awesome. And this is painted.
So this was one of the first murals I did when I moved out to New York. It's up in Long Island City, and yeah, it's one of the ones where I kind of I remember thinking, coming from such a like design environment where it was like, these are your boundaries, this is what we need to achieve, and whatever, you need to sell this many units, and that's why I need to look like this, to like people being like, paint something good that you like. And I'm like, oh my gosh, not having boundaries is actually really hard. So went through so many drafts, but of course once you send it out to your client, you're just like, it's what I came up with. This is the first thing I wanted to paint. But yeah, it was super fun, and I hope to do more.
How long does a mural like that take you, for example?
I usually work overnight. So usually like two all-nighters, just so I can avoid like people. Yeah, or people can avoid me, or fumes and stuff. Like I don't want that to. I don't want to be a toxicity to people. So usually 2 nights, but honestly that's probably because it's a night and I'm really delirious and I'm like seamlessing pizza by myself and calling it quits like after a few hours. So yeah, I hope to do a lot more of these in the future, especially now that the weather's better in New York. It doesn't limit me to like indoor places. But yeah.
Any other projects that you want to highlight?
I actually think like my Instagram is actually where I update a bit more.
Your Behance? No?
I update that even less.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
But here's some of your work for Nike. Is this something we can look at, or?
We can look at it. Yeah, it's
Yeah?
public.
Which one would you prefer opening?
We can look at this one. Yeah, I can't wait to like put all of my Nike work that's come out. Not all of it's come out yet, since we designed 2 years ahead of time, onto my newer website because. I don't know, that was a lot of work, dude. I want to get it up there. So this was like a winter, fall winter pack, or a collection.
There we go.
Yeah, what? I caught someone not following me. I'm not one of those. I'm not gonna, why follow me? Yeah, I mean, pretty straightforward. There's nothing too much to say about it, at least to me. I've been staring at this for like a year and a half now. I'm just like, yeah, that's that.
That's kind of cool because when you work for these big companies, there's a lot of work that comes out in time.
It's like a nice surprise.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh, I did that. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when you're like moving and then you find something cool that you hid away for a while and you're like, oh, yeah, this old friend. So now, yeah, I'm seeing like stuff come out, obviously in stores and like on people walking by. So it's always a nice little reminder that I was actually working for the past couple of years.
Do you have any early projects, like from when you started?
Yeah, actually, I think maybe if you go back into like my website, like my first job out of college, so I'm going to shout out this company again, like I usually like to, was for a bike company. And at the time, there was only 4 guys, the 4 founders, and I remember like I had all these interviews lined up for agencies, and I thought I wanted to go to agency work, but then I like kind of crashed this warehouse, and because my best friend needed to go pee, and it was like the most informal like interview ever, like, compared to all the other ones I had in LA, and I would just really vibe with them because they just wanted to make things happen. So I joined their team, and then we designed a bunch of bikes of all things.
Right after you finished school? College.
Yeah. Yeah. So
and that was in Portland?
So that was in, so I'm actually from California.
Okay.
I'm very not Portland. I was, yeah, really displaced there. But yeah, so it was, I went to college in San Diego, and then I was looking for jobs up in LA.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're based in Burbank. And then I moved, and I was taken to Portland.
Okay.
I didn't know what was coming.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm just so grateful that they gave me a lot of room to play, but also gave me projects that felt like the same as Nike, that you'd see them out in the world. So I think for a young designer, that's such a great balance to be able to make some mistakes, see how your mistakes play out in the real world, and learn from them. So that's really, this is like a track frame, and then a bunch of videos to go with it. And then they had like a sister company that was, and I see these bikes like around town all the time. And so like design like bike badges, the branding, and a good little gig for a very confused young designer.
That's good. Yeah, that's kind of cool when that happens, because I think the very important thing is to, when you get out of school, is to be lucky enough to very quickly find a job. Yeah. Like for your self-esteem, you know, and yeah. Because when it takes too much time, it kind of gets depressing. Yeah, but I also say like to really follow your intuition with the job that you choose. I think, especially coming out of college, I think a lot of people think, including myself, like I have to find the job that's the most obviously just higher up or a bigger name. And I was like super tempted to go into that, but I think, you know, really learning to love what you do early, not just having like validation, like is gonna do like kind of long-term wonders. Because I think I would have hated like what I did if I actually went back and There's a question from David. Do you use any 3D applications at all? Oh, it's so funny. It's not funny at all. I signed up for like a 3D class like online, and I have the little like reminder on my calendar to take it, and it's just been jumping to the next day because I haven't taken it. I was part of, so I guess for me the equivalent of the Make It on Mobile for last year for me was the Project Felix group, but now it's called Dimension. Yes. So that was my like foray into 3D design was through now Dimension. So it's one of Adobe's like newer applications. It's an application that lets you put like 2D images or skins on 3D objects. And it's really cool. It's for designers that don't really have time or don't want to go into like building 3D. So you can really like use 3D models in a 2D environment and like make them, like it's great for packaging. It's great for
It is.
Applying stuff like logos.
It would have been nice to have in 2013. But yeah.
Probably the question around came from this project
stuff.
here, this one here. This looked like maybe it could be a 3D rendering, but it's not.
It was more of a like factory thing, to be honest. But if we were talking about like 3D stuff, I have some of this earlier work with Felix, which is called Dimension now. But so that's me playing with these. So yeah, I have no background in 3D, but I think all of us have a curiosity to.
So what's this course you've applied for? What application? What was your weapon of choice?
Well, actually, since I did this, I was just like, I want more, or I want to be like more in control of all the littler things. So I think Cinema 4D is the way to go for that. So, but it's just like, it's not like this, it's like this monster I don't know how to start with. So it's.
You know, you have Cinema 4D Lite in the Creative Cloud.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you go to After Effects and you say, you make a new composition from Cinema 4D, it'll open Cinema. You have it on your computer. If you have Creative Cloud and After Effects installed, you have a 3D applications. And it's Cinema 4D Lite. So of course there's some things that cannot be done like in the full version of Cinema 4D, but it's a great way to start learning the software and checking it out, because 3D is not for everyone. And again, like you need to have a goal, a project.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
This is probably what's holding you back from hitting that button. You know, like
you're right. I'm glad that we had this conversation now.
because if you like making a sphere and making the shading and great.
Right. Yeah.
And then I can make it bounce, and then you give up. You know. But if you have something that you really want to do, I think you're
You'll
gonna
be able
hit
to learn
that
a lot.
button. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a wake-up call.
That's right, David. David Samuel, Dimensions does not require a lot of learning, but what I'm thinking is most people will be using the same ready-made mock-up. No, not necessarily. There's, mock-up, you know, a bottle is a bottle. A bicycle frame is a bicycle frame. 3D objects. There's going to be more and more 3D objects also on Adobe Stock. We have added a whole bunch of new 3D objects that can be used in Dimension, and yes, of course, it's based on objects that already exist. But frankly, I'm a graphic designer myself. I'm not sure I want to spend the time to create the mock-up of a bottle if there's already something there. You know,
right? If you want to do something more complicated, probably not have to do so much with your graphic work and. Yeah.
And then I saw a question about, from Kevin, what should you include on the first page of your portfolio? Okay, let's put in some more interesting images here. Then we're just focused on that. What is
Someone's
this?
just tuning in now.
And I think, one thing that I always say about portfolios is that never include things that you don't want to do anymore. Like, of course, every graphic designer will be doing jobs that they will not enjoy or that you have to do. Don't put them in your portfolio because somebody somewhere will ask you to do something similar.
Right, even if it's the best thing that you've done in that area that you don't want more work in, totally.
So here, for example, I get the feeling that you like more, like hand lettering is becoming more and more important in your I
actually started cycling out. So yeah, there's some here. I actually started cycling out the hand lettering stuff because I didn't want to do that stuff as much anymore.
Okay.
But it does make my living more, so I keep it on there. But yeah, I don't know if I'd use my portfolio as like the best example, although like you can get like with grids, you can get a general feeling like you were getting like with my portfolio, the breadth of what someone might do.
And you mentioned your Instagram is probably the more up to date.
It's just more current. I'll keep going. Yeah, if something's happening tomorrow, I'm more likely to say something on Instagram than I am to go into my website and update
Follow.
it. Shameless. Who's not following me out there? Yeah, so some things that are just like, you know, especially if your portfolio has a certain structure to it, there's some things that are just one image, but it was an amazing event, or it was a big campaign, but really distilled down to one image, then, I mean, it just makes sense to be like, did that, and for me to not forget about it later, to be honest, because I have a really bad memory, so.
And you know, a big difference from my time when you had to walk around New York City with your portfolio and leave it there during the day and then come back in the evening and
so I'm supposed to hang my head and like,
did somebody look at it? And some secretary would tell you, yeah, they looked at it. It's here. What did they think? Oh, how would I know? I wasn't in the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
They can't like everything.
So now it's, you know, it's all so much better that, you know, you can get an immediate feeling of, you know, who you're talking to, what you like to do. And for designers and creatives, I think that's super important to be able to, you know, to really convey that, you know, that's what I love to do. You know, give me more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you were ever wondering, like even on your website portfolio, who's actually looking at your website and what people are clicking on because of who they are or their background, like Instagram is definitely a really just daily way for me to see like who's coming in. I feel like it represents who's coming into my website, so it's like parallel. And then if I want to be like, wow, there's just must be like, but just for work-wise, like, oh, there's too much of this type of thing that I don't relate that much to, then it's a quick shift to be like, okay, let's post more of this stuff that might attract the right attention.
We have just a few more minutes before we go into the portfolio reviews. You still have a few more minutes. There's a countdown. How many more minutes do they have? 3 minutes to submit your portfolios here on behance.net/live, and we will be looking at some of them. So, but before we do that, is there one project that you know that has really marked you, that changed your life, that aha moment, you know, and say, okay, this is what I want to do?
I feel like the no is the wrong answer. I struggle with this because I'm so in love with the process. Like I feel like my head's in something when I'm like doing it and wondering about it and asking questions about it. And then once I figure it out, it's like it leaves my head. So I don't often like kind of sit there and reflect and go, wow, like that was a life-changing project. So I'd say it's more of the decisions around, like, it's such a boring answer, but it, you know, it's like the decision to move to New York and the decision before that to move to Portland that is more directive. And then the little things that come, like I keep tweaking as I go. Like I'm definitely accepting more this year that I'm just such a generalist versus a specialist. And so it's hard to say if there's like one project because I love like the variety. So I actually don't want to go strongly in one way or another. I want to be here and be like, yes, 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 yes. So yeah, it's more of the place that gives me the variety. You hate that answer.
Yeah, well, right. No, but I get it. Let's look at one last project for the last few minutes. Maybe more recent ones like this.
Maybe on my, that's not all these are super old. I don't mean to be like, but maybe on my Instagram would actually be more recent. Let's see. What have I done recently? Just more mural work, and honestly, a lot of my time right now is murals. And I just in the last like month, I've done like sneaker customization, which like vaguely links my old job with my illustrator, because I was a designer at Nike and I didn't work on footwear, but you're like around it all the time and you have ideas about it, but you don't have time to like do it. So now I have the time and I have the title to do it. So yeah, like doing stuff like for this other company here now, where I just show up and I do like on-site sneaker customization. And I'm kind of like on that right now, where I'm just really looking for people to ask me to draw and stuff, which is like if I could tell my younger self that would be my goal, like right now, like that's like insane. That this is just a birthday present. But yeah,
awesome. I really love the you know how the drawing, you know, came back into your workflow more and more, I guess, because that's what you like to do. And I know you were on Adobe Live some time ago.
Yeah.
Was it in San Francisco? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you can check it out on the Creative Cloud YouTube channel. The replays to see more of Jeanette working live for 6 hours. Remember that?
I remember that. I was like, I came in all like guns blazing. I got to make something in 15 minutes, and then like 3 days later, I'm like
still doing it.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe Tim, you can find the link to the replays if they. I'm pretty sure they're still there. All right. So we're gonna have just a very short break. I'm gonna open the portfolios, and we'll be right back to check those out. Them. Okay, so we're live. I'm still opening the portfolios that were submitted, and I have 3 here from Irina, Maya, and Lucia. All right, let's start with Irina. Irina Korshak, also in New York. Hello, Irina. If you're in the chat, please feel free to ask questions to Jeanette. And yeah, loud. Yeah, let's.
I think I should be asking her questions.
Yes, ask Irina questions.
I'm definitely, she's super active on Behance.
Oh, yeah, this is great. This is like the Hall of Fame, right? Like all the featured in. It's kind of cool when that happens on Behance.
Hi. Yeah.
And Irina is here. Hey, Irina. So yes, please. Look at Irina's portfolio.
Cool. I'm trying to figure out like what shows she's a graphic designer. It looks like she's like art direction, branding, digital art. I wonder what program. Let's see. So she does motion design too, and maybe she went to SVA, which I really wanted to go to, as well. I think it's really cool that there's such a breadth of different work, but I can see that her palette and her like use of gradient is really consistent. So like I like when the first 6 images you see on this just are like, oh, this is the same designer. No matter what the project is, and you can see it's like art direction, branding, digital art, graphic design. They all use that consistent like line of the gradient, the color palette. So it's nice when you know what to hire someone for.
Yeah, I think this is something that really changed in these days. Is that now when you look for creative talent, you're really specific in your mind about what kind of things you want to find, and like a portfolio that has too many different things or different styles, or it doesn't convey to me who am I talking with? I mean, what's happening here? And here I really have this. I see the flat design. I see some little experiments with Illustrator probably.
But still with the gradient, and but it looks like she works with like some like more organic like materials too. But yeah, I think it's like this delicate balance, right? Of like, you can do everything, like all these different categories of design. But she funnels it's her filter, like no matter
I love this.
What it is. Yeah, I love it. It reminds me of some of the newer video games that are very like all scenic and This is a really good portfolio review.
Let's see.
Does she have captions and stuff for the?
Yeah. So one thing. Landscapes are my latest obsession, for example. So hidden places. And I decided to pick some of my favorite colors to create this series. It's a personal project. Okay.
I actually really like when designers and illustrators are more personable in their captions, in their, on social media, but also in their website. Because so many people do similar things. But it's really nice if I were someone looking for someone to do a project, and she said in her caption like, this is where my head's at right now, which is what she's saying. Then I would be more eager to be like, oh, let's bring her on, because she's not just like, I've been doing this for 10 years. She's like hot in it, so I like that a lot, because you're hiring a person.
See, Adobe Rain, what is that? I had the pleasure to cooperate with Rain Agency on this project for Adobe.
You don't know about this?
No. We made a series of illustrations that became looping animations. My part was to prepare the illustrations. Okay, awesome.
That's just for the illustrator.
You know, when I joined Adobe, I think there was like 6,000 people, and now we're over 17,000. So there's so many things happening.
So you're saying you can't keep track? Okay.
I can keep track. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So yes, so basically, I think another thing that is very important on, especially on the Behance portfolios, is to include as much information as possible. You know, it's very good to have this little introduction, but if you can explain a little bit more about the process, a little bit more about your thought process, a little bit more about how you got to these results, that's always something interesting for somebody who's looking at the portfolio. Because, you know, like, beautiful pictures are easy to understand, but if you have to work with somebody who does beautiful pictures, it's kind of important to have a little bit more information before you contact them.
Sometimes I like to look for, if this is like Adobe Rain Agency, I think it is. Sometimes I like to look for what the content is on their website about the project, and honestly just pull from it, so you make sure that you get like the best of both worlds, your point of view, but also the context of this project, where it actually landed. So
again, here, like, Weekend Wonders, app illustrations. What type of app? What was the audience? What was the goal? You know, like almost what was the brief? You know, to get. I mean, these illustrations are awesome. You know, I really love them, and I get, you know, that it probably has to do something with cars. So it's like a road trip, maybe. You know, like, because there's always a road.
But you might give yourself more credit if you were to add in what the brief was, so people know that not only are these beautiful illustrations, but that you answered the brief.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, which is usually the number one thing for a client.
I think that's very, very important to put in information about the project. Let's look at one last one. Are there any things? Oh, people like it. Love your portfolio. Really lovely. Well, Irina, you got a lot of love in the chat. All right, let's see. Oh, I like these little roosters. Let's have a quick look at the roosters.
That one has the most thumbs ups.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Look at that.
Nice. I would like so much to know a little bit more about the process. You know, how you created these. Is it, you know, Opla. Opla, that's French, yeah. Do you say Opla as well?
My French family does, yeah. Opla.
Do you speak French?
Yeah, I speak French, but
okay, so you say Opla.
I speak French like a toddler.
Oh, I love these roosters, Irina. Nicely done.
Yeah.
But like I said, I would like more context. I would like to know what these roosters are for.
Yeah, like they tell a story, but help to, you know, really smooth that story along, and just give yourself credit.
Yeah, so Irina says, thanks guys for all the comments. I see I need to update my presentations and put more info. Yes, I think that's, you know, the work is great. And you're like, even though you didn't think you had like a style you were going after, I think you do. And I think, you know, there's some experimental things like this which look, you know, like this is probably for, I don't know, tenor. I don't know what that is. Again, I don't know what that is. I don't know what tenor is. I don't know what these letters are for. Is this for a 36-day type project? Is it a full alphabet? Looks like it.
But you didn't know that going into it.
No, we didn't. Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right, Irina, thank you for submitting your. I'm gonna follow. Poof. There we go.
On a following spree today.
I'm on a following spree. Let's move on to Maya's, Maya Corona from Calgary. Canada.
Nice. Hey.
So welcome. I hope you're in the chat, Maya.
Absent. She went to the bathroom.
So Siobhan says, I think most of the reviews I've seen, more information has been the main comment. Oh, it's hard to write down why you're awesome. Yeah, well.
That's why. That's what I'm saying. Like, go to the whoever you worked with or what that was for. Like, just try to take from what they wrote about it, and so you can kind of find more neutral points of why this project's awesome versus like why you're awesome. I know that's tough to talk about.
I know, but again, a Behance portfolio is becoming increasingly a door opener, and increasingly creative directors and agencies and even freelancers who look for collaborations will use Behance to actually find people, find talent, find creativity, and that's also something that changed, is that it's not city focused anymore. Now you can find creative talent anywhere on the planet. And the more information you can give about yourself, your workflow, your thought process, it just makes it easier to find you. So, Maya. Here I see a lot of illustration, very colorful, very hand-drawn. Okay, let's start with the last one. What is this? Attitude. Watercolor.
So Maya, if you're in the room, like
she is.
She is.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I'm curious, like what your goals are with putting your work out there. Like, are you looking for people to hire you for illustration work like this, or are you kind of more casually, seeing if anybody wants to commission you for anything, or since it feels very like you're experimenting at home and it's very casual. I wonder like how you could frame that same beautiful work to make it just like, sometimes people need you to connect the dots for them, right? Like, your work is great, I need to hire someone. Like, so you almost need like something to bridge that, like of you being like, this is what you can hire me for. So
I'm just going to go back to the other one in a second.
Yeah.
But here, we see very good examples of this watercolor style that you have. And
what is this?
okay, this is the email probably for the result. Tug the bulldog. Thank you. And Adam Beach here. This, for example, okay, we have a bit more of a presentation kind of thing happening, like it's branding. We have a logo. We even see your sketchbook, and I love that.
Yeah.
I love seeing like still lives like that of you doing your work, color research, fonts, putting it all together. Yeah. Again, so his mission, margin for a meaningful life.
I think similar to the other portfolio, like having like more context about what makes this company special or different. Why are these shapes like versus another?
Yeah.
Because I think it's pretty general. Like, this is a new company, and he wants clarity and confidence to go out into the market. But what did you like when I do a branding project? I ask the client, what makes you different, or what is that thing about you that, and then translate that graphically. So maybe you can put like some stuff in the captions that show more of your conversation with your client, and therefore why you.
Yeah. So there's a question from Anel Henning. Do you have to vectorize hand-drawn work to find new business? No, I don't think so. Hand-drawn work can stay hand-drawn work. Basically it just gets scanned and used like that. So it doesn't have to be necessarily in vectors. And Tim, always a good idea to include a sneak peek behind the scenes. Yeah, I think that makes it more personal. It makes it it's a person who did this, and it's me, and we can see the different variations of the logo. Yeah. And central here is the one that you've chosen.
It's almost like more interesting to me how someone thinks about something, especially if you're a hired designer, than like what that one thing they landed on is. Because when you share assets with a client, rarely is it like, this is it, and then they go, cool, sign off. Like usually there's like a back and forth, and that it's actually more important for the designer to be able to be someone who can be like, oh, I see your point, this is how I'm going to respond to that. So the design thinking is almost like more valuable.
Let's look at this one here. Oh, here we, okay, so again, it looks like an identity. Okay, so it's for while they were building it.
That's pretty cool.
That's really
that
cool.
you're able to,
to illustrate these,
and have these blown up.
Very nice, and I think it's very nice also sometimes to have these drawn portfolios as well. Like, and more it's becoming a mix, right, of digital art and analog art. Oops. Oops. Hopla.
Hopla. Yeah, maybe this is a good example then of how you use your art and your typical style. You're showing the context, visually context, not just captions wise, how it works, and therefore like how a future client could integrate you into their project.
All right. So thank you for submitting this portfolio to us, Maya. One last thing that strikes your imagination that you want to look at?
I'm looking for the likes just because I'm curious what other people gravitated towards.
Let's see, maybe in the last ones here. Yeah, but explain what it is you're doing.
You have a lot of work, so it's like similarly, like portfolios are all about, I think, giving yourself credit for all the work that you've done, right? So not just putting it up there, but framing it so that.
Well, thank you, Maya, for submitting it, and people like your portfolio. It's a really nice kind of illustration, and push that, like really push that kind of. This is the stuff evidently that you want to be doing. So do more of that. Put it into context, it doesn't necessarily have to be paid projects. Many great portfolios start with side projects, and do you have time for side projects?
Always. I think that you need to put more emphasis on side projects. You lose yourself in this. That's something that I don't think is just like if I have time. That's necessary.
I think this is time you have to take.
Yeah.
All right, Maya, thank you. And the last portfolio we'll be looking at is from Lucia Pham from Hanoi, Vietnam. Hello, Lucia.
Is it Lucia or Lucia? I don't know how she would say.
I don't know. Lucia. I'm a design student at Hanoi University of Industrial Fine Art and freelance graphic designer and illustrator based in Hanoi. I specialize in illustration and branding projects. I want to be a professional designer who can spread inspiration to every client I work with. I'm currently available, blah, blah. Okay. So, great. Here again, I see some sort of style happening. I see that there's a lot of branding, of course, because that you're studying that. Let's look at your portfolio 2017.
The whole portfolio is in one project.
Yeah. Very.
It's a lot of branding.
Yeah.
Very clean. Taiwan, shout out to Taiwan.
Where do you see that? Oh, yeah.
We see ourselves where we want to see ourselves. It's like a branding portfolio.
Yeah, like I know, I'm just repeating myself over and over again. But the more information we have about, okay, we know it's a beauty salon, but what kind, where, and how, really find. I'm gonna try to find portfolios that really work, like to give good examples. I think it's very, very important. Also, like why? Is it just a beautiful kind of composition, typographic thing happening there, or does it have a more profound, more complex meaning to it?
Maybe to play devil's advocate, it seems like maybe this is like her collective.
Yeah.
And then like maybe there's I think there's other projects like if you scroll down. I don't know. I think probably. I know people do it on Behance a lot where they'll do like these are all the logos I've made. Let's forget about the story for a second and just.
But they're not all here. I think the Kai
Some
T.
of them are there, yeah.
That's the one you noticed with Taiwan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This. Well, I can't read that, but it's probably an explanation.
This is an awesome project, and Taiwanese people are amazing, and I did this project for them.
Very nice. Oh, Lucia is here.
What I do like about how she set up at least these 2 pages that we've seen are that I think sometimes we cram in too much graphics, especially in a Behance portfolio where it's already a smaller window.
Yeah.
And I can't fully absorb everything. I like that she had that horizontal layout for the logos, so you have time to like digest them versus.
Interesting. There's also a portfolio for 2016.
Right, I saw that. It's like a yearbook for work.
Yeah. And it's kind of cool to see also like the progress, you know, how you've grown into your design work. And I really like your color sensibility. I think they all work really well together.
Maybe something nice to integrate is like how the other designer had that one page of, because you have so much work and clearly you've done a lot of, whether it's student work or professional, there's a lot of logos, and I think it would be cool to see like those behind the scenes sketches for you, because clearly like you have a pretty established like, or you know, you have your own style of thinking through work. That would be nice to get in there, I bet.
Let's look at one last thing. I think this one could be interesting with all these different things happening. Infographic, okay. Okay, so explaining things, how things work. Yeah, I think, you know, there's a lot of interesting things happening here.
I like how there was a little caption that said, "It took about a week too." And she's speedy.
Well, Lucia, I wish you the best of luck to, you know, to reach your goal, to inspire your clients all over the world with your design work. Thank you so much for sharing. Very nice. You know, there's one last portfolio you want to look at, which is this one.
You're kidding, right? We didn't talk
No,
about this.
back to Jeanette, because we're almost done.
Okay.
And
was
I
very
just wanted to go
comfortable,
back to
yeah.
your portfolio because we started by saying you're actually working on a new portfolio.
I am.
Stay tuned because JennetLiaw.com will be updated soon.
Yeah, within a month. Because I have so
Now
many,
you have to do
I
it.
did that, like we just did, but with my own. So I wrote down all the things that are wrong with this, and it's just like now I have a super opinionated position on the new site. So yeah.
So Jeanette, thank you so much for swinging by here at 99U, the creativity conference here in New York City. It's the 10th 99U, so 10 years that this conference has been going on, and we're going to be live here today and tomorrow with incredible guests just like Jeanette. And anything else you want to tell the audience before we leave?
No.
Everybody's saying Lucia. No? Okay. All right,
Thanks for
Alexandre,
coming. I
thank
appreciate
for
you coming, for submitting your portfolios.
Everybody's giving Lucia some love. Great. This is the great thing about the Adobe Live community is that you know they're so supportive, and
it's good to be reminded of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for Janet's new portfolio. I'm just looking at the Ryan Smith, woohoo, yeah.
Thanks.
And Lynn Landry, everybody says thank you. So stay tuned, of course, because in 5 minutes we're going to be back here live from the 99U conference here in New York City. We are streaming all day, so stay tuned. Jeanette, thank you for swinging by.
It's a pleasure.
I'll see you right soon. Bye.
Bye.